would do is, say it again. The meeting is being recorded.
Yes, the city of Saki started recording it, so it's just that was the message.
Because something, yeah, okay, so that message is going to disappear.
I believe so.
Or should I? Let me see.
We're good on our side, Shaykh. We don't see any.
You don't see anything. Okay, I got rid of it.
We just see you.
Okay, I got rid of it. Okay, so let me give you a good, for instance, on what I'm discussing here. My last khutbah a couple of weeks ago, you know, I was talking to the people about our biggest problem as a people, and I directed it mostly towards women. One of the reasons is that to have a great society, my teacher always taught that you have to have great women, because women spend more time with the children, and from them being around the children learn habits. See? So if the women are more attracted to the dunya than they are to the Islam, they're gonna bring the bad habits into your home, and it'll be disguised. Like one ulama say, women have no idea the attack that they're under, especially in America. The attack is that the people who are our enemy, they know that if they can destroy the woman's mind, they will destroy the family. So they have something in this country called the women's rights movement. A lot of the sisters don't realize that they're not following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they're following the sunnah of the women's rights movement and making it appear that it's the Islam. You see? So it's my duty to point this out so that the women will stop teaching the women's rights movement to the children as if it's the Islam. See? And you will have women who are trying to, you know, put themselves in a place that where they just don't belong. It has nothing to do with the times. It has nothing to do with, you know, whether they are in the right position or not. It has nothing to do with it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He's positioned us all according to what He thinks is necessary for our achievement. And what are we achieving? Inshallah, we're trying to achieve Jannah. We're trying to be in a good position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we meet Him. And that is the epitome of what we're doing here on the earth right now. So right now, we got the people worrying about the plague that we're under. And they're spending all so much time, they're all running around, oh my God, the plague, the plague. But in fact, for the believer, this can turn into a good thing for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that the unique thing about being a believer is that you're always going to get good out of all situations. See? It's not the situation, it's how you deal with the situation that you're in. So, of course, you know, everybody, we should all try and live as long as we can to be able to do more good. But we're not afraid. We're not afraid that if death comes to us, you know, we don't panic because of death. We panic because of bad deeds. Because it's not the way you die, it's the way you live. So many times people have this whole system backwards. They have it backwards. I had a brother tell me, oh, Shaykh, if I just had $100 trillion, I would be able to live well. And I'm like, where'd you learn that? That's not Islamic. That's something in your imagination. And you could have $100 trillion, and all it does is increase your nafs and have you living worse than you would have lived had you been penniless. So whatever comes to the life of a believer, if he follows the rules of Islam, and he does his best to implement that into his life, he will most assuredly be happy at the end. See? And this is what faith is about. Faith is not something that you can say, oh, I see that sitting over there. That's where I'm trying to go. Only the people who have like the highest type of spirituality actually can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything. This is something that the people of Tasawwuf talk about, but most of the people, even the Murids, don't really understand it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the ability to see him through so many things in this world. But it depends on the iman, the faith of the person, the individual. Two people, one man of faith, one man not of faith. Look at the exact same thing, but they won't see the same thing. Allahumma salli wa sallam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. I often tell my students about two men. One man had nothing in this world. He was basically penniless. Basically. One set of clothes, whatever he could find to eat. At nighttime, when it was time to rest, he had to try and find some place to close his eyes. No car, no camel, no nothing. But he continuously made his prayers. He did his fastings for Ramadan. He tried to be good to whoever was near him. He tried to help. If he had $5, he would give $2 of those dollars or $3 of those dollars in charity. And then he died. The tradition said when he died, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called him to ask him some questions about his life. He said to the man, so what do you think about your life on the earth? And he said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my Lord, I think it was the best life ever. If I had to do it all over again, I would take that same exact life. So when the ulama talk about his answer, they say because his life, the way he lived his hard life, is what allowed him to be in paradise with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the other man, he had everything. He had many homes, many wives, limousines, the best of everything. Rich. And then he died. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, stop him. Don't let him go any further until I question him. And he asked him, what do you think about your life now? And the man said, oh, Allah, it was the worst life ever. I would never want to have a life like that. If I had a choice, I wouldn't tell everybody, you don't want that life. And so the ulama say, when they research that answer, they say it's because that's the life that sent them to hell. So the ultimate goal is to be in the best position you can be in at the end when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has nothing to do with your position on earth right now. If you're a rich person, because the Sahaba, they had many, many rich Sahaba, and those same rich Sahaba, if you saw them with the other people, you would never think that they were rich. The only thing that money was good for, as far as they were concerned, is how you do good deeds with it. See? So this is the message I always try to send to people is don't be so worried about, your life here now. Worry about what you do with your life here now. It's not the way you die, it's the way you live. So those people who think that this virus is the worst thing that could happen, of course you have to follow the rules. You know that we have to do our best to safeguard, but ultimately we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge, but we don't leave it there. If He sent us some rules, He said, okay, wash your hands often with soap and avoid contact with people right now. This is a part of the rules. So only a fool would ignore the rules because they undoubtedly are going to catch the virus. But you have to know the virus is not in charge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge. Like tradition said, even at the bottom of the ocean, when the sand, whatever is on the bottom, is going to shift, before it can shift, it have to ask the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That when something like a cold or a virus or a germ is going to infect the body, it can't just do it on its own. It has to ask permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before it can invest itself into that body. The people of Lut, when the stones rained down on them to destroy these people, tradition says that every stone that was meant to hit somebody had that person's name on it. Every stone. And that no stone missed the person that it was supposed to hit. So, people of faith, we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the capability of doing whatever He please. And these are things, that signs that show His might and His power and His ability. Only a fool would think that something has power over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Muslims in this condition, my advice to you is to take this time right now to write yourself as best you possibly can. The Prophet ﷺ said, all men are sinners. The best of them are the ones who are constantly asking for forgiveness. So my advice is to, do your Islam as best as possible. It has nothing to do with information. A lot of the people are going around, and they got all this talk, and they're all enthusiastic, but being enthusiastic without knowledge is very dangerous. It's like a person who jumps in a high-powered vehicle, and they get to driving, and they're so happy that they're driving this high-powered vehicle. They're not equipped, mentally equipped or trained to drive this vehicle. And undoubtedly, they're going to crash into something and kill themselves or kill somebody else. So all of these things, technology and these types of things, this is all wonderful. But, you know, it's not enough to be able to live your Islam just through that. You have to have the training. You have to have the discipline. You have to learn what you have to do in order to be successful. Our Quran is the book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent us. It's the roadmap to success. The roadmap to success. So while everybody's running around worrying about, you know, who started the virus, where did it start, and all of these different ludicrous things, they always eliminate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the equation. Because if they were intelligent, they would say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an opportunity to look closer at ourselves. Let us try and fix what we haven't done so far, and use this as an example, this plague as an example of what we should be doing to help ourselves to be in a better condition. Nobody wants to die in a bad position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The main thing is, when the death comes, you can't go back and fix it. So something like this is an opportunity for the believer to think twice about his life, to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe I can fix this if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just give me a little bit more time, you know, I can probably do better. I know I can do better. So this is my advice to the people. Stop wasting your time. Once the time is done, you can't go back and fix it. Now is the time. It's been the time to put your life in order. I don't care how many different hadith you can read, and how many different ideas you have from this Shaykh or that Shaykh. It's all meaningless unless you can put it into your life and let it be a guiding light for you. If it's not in your life, you can have so much information you could fill a building with it. But if you're not practicing that information in the best possible way, so they ask me, well, Shaykh, you know, what is the best way? The best way is what is good for other people. The people who come in contact with you. That's the best way. It's not that you appease your own ego, or you appease your idea of what I am or who I am. No, it doesn't matter. That's all insignificant. The way you're going to gain benefit from your knowledge is the way you use it to help other people. That is the biggest sacrifice. And this is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his information that he left was always do good to the other people. He would sacrifice his own for others. They have a talk about, let me see, I still have some time. They have a talk about, yani, a Quran reciter, world's great Quran reciter, about a scholar, world's legendary great scholar, and then a man of charity who was well known for giving charity. And when they died, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had them questioned by the angels. And they said to the man who was the great Quran reciter, you spent your life doing this work. Why did you do that? You didn't have to do that. You could have done something else with your life. He said, I did it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the angels replied back, you lie. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, yes, you lie. Take him to hell. And then the man who was the great scholar knew all the decisions. And the angels asked him, why did you spend your life in this work? You could have done other things. He said, I did it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the angel said, you lie. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, yes, he lied. Take him to hell. And the third man, who was the man who gave great charity, the angel stopped him and asked him, why did you give away all your belongings and your wealth to the other people? And he said, I did it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the angel said, you lied. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, yes, he lied. Take him to hell. But before you take them to hell, let me inform them that I see and know everything. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when they started to do this work, they started with the right intention. But as they saw how people appreciated them so much more, they got lost in the accolades that were given them. So the Quranic reciter, he loved to hear the people say how great a reciter he was. The big scholar, he loved how the people say he's a great scholar. And the person who gave charity, he loved to hear the people say how magnanimous he was and what a great giver to the poor he was. So in fact, none of those, after some time, were doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they were in fact doing it for their own naf. And this is why my teacher, when he taught me that particular lesson, he taught me that lesson every year. For 10 years, he would teach me that lesson over and over again. To let me know to be careful. Be careful. Everything you do, you have to systematically put things in their right place so that the shaitan, a'udhu billahi, don't have you doing something and you thinking you're doing something else. This is why it's good to hide. It's good to stay away from the people who will make you think you're somebody that you're not. You have to be honest with yourself. This is another reason that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say the people who want position, don't give it to them. Don't give it to them. It's the ones who don't look for it. When you're looking for somebody to put your trust in and to somebody that can help you, you want to find that person who don't want the accolades. He don't want people hovering around him carrying his shoes. Actually, he likes to be behind the scenes someplace. Careful. not to lose whatever good he has by his mind or his head becoming inflated, that he starts to think of himself as being somebody. Rasulullah, yani the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our best example of what a person should be like, what they should do, and how they should deal with the public, with how they should deal with the other people. If you're sitting in your home and you're eating until you get full and not thinking about your neighbor who may not have food, then you, in fact, may not be a believer. Because the idea of belief is not just for you, it's for first your family, then your extended family, and then those people who are near to you, who live near to you, your neighbors. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Again, I wanted to give you this talk so that the people will have an opportunity to say, oh, I once heard Shaykh Ameen, and some of them will say, I don't like that brother. It's okay. Everybody won't like you. It's okay. What you want to be concerned with is whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like you or not. Not what the people think. Okay. One last thing. In the society that we're in, it's upside down. They're making us believe that all of their traditions in this country, not only this one, this one has infected the world. They want us to believe that now alcoholism, because this country is a country full of alcoholics. The tradition in the books of Fiqh, it says that something that is haram that can affect your mind, it doesn't matter how much of it you use. It's still, if you use the smallest amount, it's still haram. It has the same value system as if you had drunk a ton of it. But if you only drink a thimbleful, it's still haram. See? So America is a country that its haram is at the top, and what is good or halal is at the bottom, if this even exists. Listen to me. Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi say, the people who indulge in homosexuality should be killed. Oh man, I can see them out there now scrambling. That Shaykh Ameen is crazy, man. He's saying that the homosexuals should be killed. I'm not saying it. I'm telling you what the great Fuqaha say about this. The most learned of the learned, Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, he said, oh, the ones who do it, you don't kill them right away, but you beat them severely first. And then if they get caught again participating, then they should be killed. Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi say the same thing. The participants who continue to participate, they should be killed because they are a blight on your society. I'm not making this up. You go look for it. You go look it up and see what the Fuqaha say about this subject. So this practice is totally unacceptable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call it an abomination. An abomination. They got us thinking that we're the ones who are mixed up and wrong because, you know, we're anti-gay. I'm not anti-anybody. I'm just following whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say. He's the master. We're the servants. The servants can't teach the master what to do. Once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say this is wrong, that's it. Is that nobody, no president, no governor, nobody can make us think that something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has deemed as wrong can change these things and make them right. Okay. I wanted to tell you that. So now I am officially a dislike Shaykh. It's okay. I'm a dislike Shaykh because I'm going against the status quo, and that's my position here for you. I'm supposed to do that. Okay. I'm going to stop now because I think Habib is trying to give me a signal that I should leave some room for the people to attack. Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Shaykh. May Allah reward you, may Allah preserve you. I just want to say really quickly that I can bear a testament to what you said at the beginning of the class. When I tell people, I tell, big name, famous people who studied this deen, that we studied the Shada Saghir, and I said, what, the Shada Saghir? You studied that? Just finish, you know what you're talking about. I tell them about Dr. Dunya, one brother who studied at Azhar. He told me when I was at Azhar, we used to go to the ends of the earth to find Dr. Suleiman Dunya's editions of books because they had the most thorough explanations and whatnot. But alhamdulillah, I'm thankful that everybody here got a chance to not only get sort of connected to that chain to Dr. Dunya, but we see when we hear the way Shaykh Ameen sort of organizes the information, speaks to our psychoses and our spiritual sicknesses and our issues of the day. It's I hope Shaykh Ameen would allow me to say even Dr. Dunya rahmatullahi wouldn't have been able to do that the way Shaykh Ameen does. So what we have is Nurun ala Nur. We have light upon light. And just the opportunity, even if this is the only time you ever had a chance to listen to Shaykh Ameen, this is huge. For us in this part of the world, this would be like, if you got a chance to sit with Imam Abu Hanifa or Imam Shafi or something like that, So even just being able to benefit from Shaykh Ameen, even just the one time, in your lifetime is a big benefit. But we pray that Allah continue to preserve Shaykh Ameen and continue to give him long life and good health. And I encourage everybody to get as much as you can from Shaykh Ameen, to get as much as you can from these sessions and these lessons. And I see somebody, this is
it was
Dr. Jamila.
A sister Jamila.
Yeah.
Her name popped up on the screen.
She popped up. She popped up with a message. She just said, "Thank you so much, Sheikh." She's thanking you. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Can I just say one thing before we have to?
Please.
Okay. I don't want the sisters to misunderstand that part of my talk that I directed it especially towards the women, because you have to know that a part of my assignment here in America is to be a protector of the women. That's a part of my assignment, because most of the people that are probably listening are not people that have been around the Islam from the beginning when it first came into America, or when it became well known, an entity in America. At that time, there were only a small amount of masjids. There were hundreds of Muslims, not millions. And the ideas were kind of backwards because there was no scholarship here. So what we found is that the women were being trampled by the so-called Muslim men. And they used to invent things and call it Islam and treat the sisters badly. So it was my job was to protect the rights of the sisters. And I used to literally do that by fighting against these guys. Some of them were considered as the imam. The imam, a lot of times, when the sister went to him with a complaint, they used to tell the sisters, they didn't hardly listen to their complaint. They go tell them, go home and listen and listen to your husband. That was their answer. See? Go home and listen to your husband. And a lot of time the husband was cruel, uneducated. He was a bad man. I don't care if he say he was a Muslim. He didn't act like a Muslim. In any case, this was my duty, was to protect the rights of the sisters. But now the sisters have gone to another level that they have to learn. They have to be straightened out, and it has to be clarified that, listen, sister, what you're claiming as an Islamic sunnah, that's not an Islamic sunnah. That's a sunnah from the women's rights movement. Okay, I'm clear now. Jamal is from Dubai. He's trying to ask us something. Habib, do you see that? I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, Shaykh. I said he just said alhamdulillah. So
Okay.
the people now, they just saying thank you and alhamdulillah. And, brother Ola Mustafa, he says, Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh, for doing this. I moved out of New York City last year, and the only thing I can say is I miss your classes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve you, give you shifa, and reward you immensely for what you have done for us. And Dr. Jamila Kareem, again, is saying, we appreciate your clarification. May Allah beautify our protection and elevation of women with the sunnah. So she's thanking you for what you said again. And Brother Jamal from Dubai saying, Jazakumullah khair, Shaykh, we love you and miss you. Ameen. And Sister Mona from the UK is saying, Allahumma Ameen. This has been a beautiful experience, alhamdulillah. So the people just thanking you and letting you know how much they're pleased and praising Allah for everything that they got from you today. Inshallah.
Mm-hmm.
Alhamdulillah. And alhamdulillah now, yes, Shaykh.
Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy that I was able to give some information that may be useful to some people. Inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes this plight regarding this virus, and I will sit in again in the Islamic Cultural Center, inshallah, and I invite people to come and talk to me, because it's always better if they can talk to you. I wasn't trained in Islam to just stand around and talk to people and they can't talk back to me. See?
No.
So I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is my hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us have regular classes again, and that the people will come out and learn. It's just very important to learn. I can't think of anything that is more important for learning. One thing, having a good wife. Having a good wife is worth so much more than a person could even imagine. You see? Okay, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. And I just typed to everyone, if you have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. Or there's a button you can press here where you can raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, then we'll take you off mute if you want to ask a question so that everybody can hear you, inshallah. So if anybody has any questions for Shaykh Ameen, Bismillah, please ask them.
Alaikum
salam.
I'm trying to figure out, how do I go into the chat so I can write a question?
Okay, if Brother Ishaq, can you walk her through it? And if you can't, then I'll try to, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So if you're on your phone, touch your screen and there are 3 dots that should be on the bottom of your screen. And in those options, it should say, it should have a chat option there. If you're on your computer, if you move your mouse to the bottom of the screen, there's a chat there. There's a option that says chat. Do you see that, sister?
No, it's maybe next time, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Well,
you can ask your question.
Yeah.
You can just ask
Yeah,
it
you don't have to chat it.
No, I just wanted to make a comment thanking the Shaykh for protecting the sisters in Islam, because he's so right. When we first started, a lot of times we got Islam and not Islam. And so we did need a protector, and I'm very grateful to him for that.
Ameen.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Also, we have Brother Muhammad Aliyu has his hand raised. So I'm going to take you off mute, Sidi Muhammad Aliyu. Okay, we can all hear you. Assalamu alaikum.
I was texting, but now I can say it. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Ameen. Heard a lot about you from Habib, Dr. Habib. And I've heard of Dr. Dunya a long time ago, but I never met him. I know I've heard about him a long time ago, like almost 30 years ago, but I never got a chance to meet him. But I met this brother named Ibrahim Abdul Samad. He used to have a magazine called Menhaj. And we never met, but we talked a lot. And he told me he studied with Dr. Dunya. I don't know if he's still living. They say he looked like he's of Indian descent from East India, but I haven't ever met him. And then I know 2 brothers that studied with you named Sharif and another named Hassan. They used to be Ansars like myself. I was with him for 17 years. But I would like to, sit with you, come if this virus thing is over, I'd like to meet with you and, learn from you. I'm learning from you indirectly by way of Habib, Dr. Habib, but, this is Assalamu alaikum. I want to say shukran. I'm glad a chance to see you, FaceTime. And if I can get your phone number if possible.
Okay.
Or I can give you mine.
Alhamdulillah, don't worry about these things. The reason I teach these classes is so that when I die, inshallah, the people will have other people that they can learn from. And
okay.
This information won't die with me. You see? Now, Ibrahim Abdul Samad was my student for, I would say, about 10 years. Sharif Abdul Ragib was my student for even a little longer than that. And I have maybe 2,000 or more students all over the world. See, all over the world. That inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be happy with the work that we have put in to this point to combat the enemy of Islam. Because the enemy are fighting from within. You don't see them. And because they're coming in an Islamic name, they have a way of fooling the people. Like one of the things I like to tell the people is how they're making us weak. Everything is, oh brother, oh brother, oh brother. Everything is not, oh brother, oh brother, oh brother. The Sahabi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose them to be a good example for us in how we should behave ourselves as Muslims. You think everything to them was, oh brother, oh brother, oh brother? Oh no. If you were wrong, they would punish you. See? They wouldn't let people do anything they wanted to do in the name of Islam. So, in the early stages of Islam in this country, the brothers were more, what's the word they would use? Militant? I don't know.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Now, they have they have internally destroyed the heart of the Muslims. See? Stuff that we wouldn't have taken back then, I see the people now, they act like, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. You can't prosper. You can't make change until the people get tired of the way things are and they fight for change. I'm not telling you to go out and make an insurrection. I'm telling you that everything is not okay. Because they give you, we make our prayers. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. That doesn't make us any different than anybody else, except that we're following the instructions from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? That's what we're supposed to do. He's our creator. He said make prayers, we make prayers. But that doesn't mean that we can stop there. We have to fight for what we believe. And if you fight in different ways, like I'm an orator. So right now, I'm talking to you. I'm saying, listen, you have to get your mind right. You can't just say, I'm a Muslim and that's enough. You make your prayer and that's enough. No, every Muslim should have some kind of organizational framework for their life, for Islam. So I don't care if you don't like what I'm dealing with, then find somebody who you do, who's a representative of Islam, and help them to get it, make Islam spread. This is the newest religion in this country, and it's the right one. Our duty as Muslims is to enlighten the other people around us. You have any idea how many people are saying, I don't know about Islam? Why? Because the Muslims are not doing their duty. You see?
Yeah.
Okay. As you like.
Jazakallah bikhair.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. So one sister Rahima Muhammad is asking if you can go back over what you said for the sisters who got the class late. I'm gonna give her a copy of the recording. I just wanted to say that so she can know that I'm not ignoring her. We're gonna make sure she can get a copy of the recording, inshallah.
Okay.
Also,
okay, go ahead.
No, Shaykh, what were you gonna say?
What I'm gonna say is, this is one of the things I talked about in the beginning, is that you need to have a system that I don't have to keep going, that I don't have to go over the same thing over and over again. So it's like in class. You know, Habib, it's in class. When I say to the people in class, if you come an hour late, don't expect me to make up your hour. So I got to go back to where I was an hour ago and explain to you or whoever that, this is what I said an hour ago. No, we have to take this more serious than that, And this is my problem with my own people, is that you have to learn how to learn. You can't expect that something's gonna, we always waiting around for something to fall out the sky for us. It doesn't work that way. You got to put in your effort. So whatever it is that you think that you got to find a way to do it timely. Somebody asked me once, and I was teaching a lesson. They say, "Well, Shaykh, how do we get our prayers in?" Oh no, brother, you got it wrong. Your prayers are bigger than your life. So you got to find a way to get this is why we learn about the timing of prayers. So that once you find out how much time you have in between, so that you can get your prayers in what's called the adda time or the good time, then you program your life around your prayers. You don't program your prayers around your life. And there's no need for explanation other than that. Sometimes I think back to, Habib, I'm out of time, right?
Well, I'm not sure, but this I can let us know. But I did want to let you know that a couple other people it's good that the sister asked that, because it gave other people a chance to know that it's recorded and to ask for copies of the recording. So we're going to make sure to get a copy. One of the brothers from the UK even asked, how can the folks in the UK benefit. So we're going to make sure they get a copy, and we keep letting them know when we do these things digitally. One other brother did have his hand raised, Brother Hassan. Brother Isaac, do we have time to keep taking some questions, or do we have to close out?
No, Bismillah, Bismillah.
Bismillah. Okay. So
Whenever the Shaykh wants to end, as long as it's whenever he wants to end is fine. Bismillah.
Okay. Bismillah.
So, wait. Isaac, if they're waiting for me to be tired from doing this work, and they'll be waiting forever. This is my life. It's like, when I stop talking with you and I go back into solitude, that's my life. That's all I do. That's my life. I don't care about the virus, because even when the virus is not in existence that we know about, I'm going to be the same person. I'm going to stay in my house. I'm only going to deal with the people who ask me for information. I'm going to be in here reading my book and, trying to stay out of trouble and doing this my whole life. My whole life. No. That's been my life. That's my habit. That's my life. You see? Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, Brother Hassan, I think you're off mute.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah, I have a question regarding current event in regards to the situation we find ourselves with this coronavirus and the trend of what the obligation is of Jummah and the trend of live streaming Jummah. Are you familiar with live streaming Jummah, Shaykh?
Yes, I know. Is that you, Abdullah?
Yes, Shaykh, that's me. Yes, sir.
Okay. Because my eyes are not good like they used to be. So I kind of see you.
It's got my government name up there too, so.
Oh, that's why. Okay, alhamdulillah. Oh, thank you. That's my wife is fixing it so I can see better. Shukran, thank you, dear. Okay, Abdullah, I understand your question. Well, Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. So we are in a unique place right now. The uniqueness is that we have never had a situation like the one we're living in right now. And because of that, there is no built-in answer. You see, we're not obligated by the religion to make Jummah from the computer or from the cell phone. That's not the obligation. The obligation for Jummah is under the basis of, are you able to get up and go to the masjid and make Jummah? That is what we are obliged to do. Now, if you try to do something else, like on the computer or on the cell phone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we pray that He will accept that as some type of Jummah, some type, better than nothing. But in fact, that's not the right idea, because what will happen is, let's say the virus is finished, and so the people who got used to staying on the computer, staying at home, being comfortable, listening to the Kuba, and so on and so forth, they're going to continue doing that once they can see that it's easy, and nobody's gonna accuse them of doing something bad. So they'll just keep doing that, and that's not what it's for. See, Jummah is not for that purpose. Jummah is get up out of your house, go to the masjid, be on time for Jummah. Because some people, I watch them, every Friday, they're late. And every Friday when they're late, they come in and they disturb everybody, making the brothers move over so they can get in the space and this and that. And some of them come in, they're still talking about the stuff they were talking about before they came in late to the person who came in with them. And so, you know, obviously they're not seriously taking Juma, because the person who comes in late has missed the khutbah. He might as well have stayed home, because he gets no value for that. He gets no value for coming late to Juma all the time. We understand occasionally somebody's going to run into some difficulty traveling or something like that, and he might be late. But to let whatever it is that keeps you from coming to Juma on time every week, then that thing is your Juma. It's not the khutbah and the imam and the people. It's whatever it is that's constantly making you late. So we used to have this thing where the bosses in the early days, you know, see, what the people now are doing, they're taking advantage of the fight that we had to put up to be able to come to Juma on time. So in the early days, your boss or whoever you were working for used to act as if we couldn't go to Juma because we were on his time. So we actually had to go to court. We had to fight a battle that, you know, eventually the courts gave us the right to go to Juma, and they told the boss, well, look, if he can get there, you know, and still do your job, then he have to be able to go. That's his right. See, so we negotiated with the bosses at that time, and they would say, oh, okay, so you can stay that extra hour after, you know, your time would have been up on my job. You can work that extra hour, but that'll be like your regular time, making up for when you went to Juma. You got me? So we can't just say, you know, under these conditions, we'll say, okay, you know, we'll try to do what we could do. But don't get in the habit of doing that, because that's not exactly the right way. That's not the right way for Juma. Okay. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, but as a follow-up, Sheikh, for those that are listening to the khutbah on the computer or on their phone, when it's time for the salat, should they make the 2 rakats or the 4 rakats for Dhuhr?
They're making Zohar, because are they praying behind the imam? Somebody said no. So if they're not praying behind the imam in congregation, they should make 4 rakats, because that's not exactly Juma. You understand me?
Yes, I understand, Sheikh.
Okay.
Shaykh, the camera went down, so we can't see your face right now. You just lift the screen up a little bit. I think we'll be able to see.
I did that on purpose.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Let me
No, it's fine, Shaykh. That's fine, Shaykh. Whatever makes you more comfortable.
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I think we only really got time for. I want to give this brother Hassan a chance, because he raised his hand a while ago, and I think this might be our last question, inshallah ta'ala. Brother Hassan, you, I'm gonna make sure you're off mute. Yes, we can hear you if you want to ask your question, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi, Shaykh Ameen. I have a question and a comment. My comment is, I want to thank you so very much, and the organizers of this, the administrators of this particular platform, to help those of us who need this help desperately, especially me. My question, Shaykh, is dealing with the hadith that you quoted earlier on in the class about the three people who are presented before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with whatever actions that they did. And I've heard this hadith before, although this particular the way that you transmitted it was a little different, because you involved the angels. But my question has always been, when we do these particular deeds that we do, aren't we doing them in some respect for ourselves, seeking the pleasure of Allah. If that's redundant, or forgive me for that question, Sheikh. I mean, I don't mean to be ignorant. Well, I'm ignorant, but I don't mean to be facetious, all right, in asking this particular question, but just for personal clarification.
Okay, alhamdulillah. I understand exactly what you said. And of course, as you must know, that because I've been doing this work so long, I have had people ask me that same thing that you just asked me about, the same, hadith and like that. So, Allahumma salli wa sallam wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. The idea for hadith is not the same for each one. That particular hadith is a warning and a reminder to be careful of your niyyah, on why you're doing something. It doesn't say that the people who are trying to do this work are people, who are not doing it fi sabilillah, yani for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We think that we're doing these things for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for our benefit for later. But what the hadith is reminding us is, don't take that for granted, because the shaitan, a'udhu billahi, he plays tricks, and he plays a different sort of trick for the people who have acquired learning, who have acquired position in front of the other people, and these type of things. So those are the people who have to be especially careful, because the shaitan, a'udhu billahi, he likes to deceive the leaders among the people more so than anybody, because the people who are looked upon as the learned, the ones who are looked upon as the free givers, the helpmates for the other people, these people have a following. So they're the ones that the shaitan, he likes to take them off the track, you see. And so this hadith is telling us, be careful of your niyyah, of your intention. Every day, my teacher used to say, you have to check your intention all the time, not sometime. Because as soon as you think you got it, shaitan, a'udhu billahi, he has you. So I personally always consider myself as not having done enough, that I have to fix myself to do better. And so I try to watch what I do all the time, and always try to put the other people ahead of myself. So my teacher used to tell me that there are different type of sheikh. There's the sheikh who thinks that the people should serve him. And then there's the sheikh who knows that he should serve the people.
Allahu Akbar.
Unfortunately, our system is so twisted that the people think if they don't have to pay for it, it's valueless. They think that if somebody says, I'm going to teach you good Islamic lessons and you don't have to pay me, they'll turn away from him and say, it's valueless. You don't even want money. Well, that's because they have never experienced learning from the learned. The learned will tell you they don't want your money. See?
Yes.
The learned will act as if you want to give them money, depending on who you are, they won't take your money. They will be extremely skeptical of, what is this person giving me money for? This is my job. This is my duty. Allah is my paymaster. He takes care of me. I'm not saying that the people shouldn't sometimes think about how the Shaykh is eating, but you know, he's not gonna ask you for money. If he's real, he's gonna, you know, what they got a saying. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Yani, you know, we don't depend on people. So, okay, I think I did my job.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. We're gonna have the very last question from my big brother Ustad Abdul Adil, another one of your students, Shaykh. He asked the question. He's on the line, and I'm gonna ask the question for him if he'll allow me to, just for time's sake. He's asking. Say again.
If he allows you, I don't care. I like to talk to Abdul Adil.
Okay, I'll let him ask it. Then I'll take him off mute. Brother Abdul Adil, you off mute. You want to ask the question?
Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh Ameen. Jazakallah khairan, Sidi Habib. Shaykh, what would there's a masjid out here where I live that's maintaining the 5 prayers and the Jummah. What would the ulama say about this type of situation?
This is a very easy question, and it's also a question that needs to be asked. You see, one of the things that Islam doesn't allow is anything that is a danger to the public. If there is something that is a danger to the public, and some people say, oh, we're going to do it this way anyway, they are the person who needs to be corrected. It's not the people who are following the advice of the medical people, the advice of the people who are in charge of the country. If they say you should not have a gathering right now, Islam has a place for that. The place is you have to follow the advice of the medical people who are trying to prevent the spread of this plague. That is our duty, is to follow the law, to follow the system that they put in place to protect the public. See, they got some people, when they tell you, when they're told about how to try and protect the public by, you know, keeping themselves a different type of cleanliness and these type of things, and watch where you go in public and not to have such close proximity and these type of things, they say something stupid like, well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he protected me. Like as if they signed a contract with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they could do anything they want, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to sanction that. That's not the way it works. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, you know, for Muslims to be Muslims, to follow the right instructions, to follow the instructions of those people put in charge, as long as they're not telling them you can't make your prayer, you can't fast for Ramadan, you know, you can't help the homeless, as long as they're not telling them that the things that make a Muslim, that they can't do it, we should follow the rules. And anybody who thinks they're bigger than everybody else, they're the ones that's mistaken. You understand me, Abdul? Is he still on?
Yes, Sheikh, I
Yes.
do. Very much. Thank you.
Okay, let's go a step further. Muslims do not cremate. I have fought many a battle with the government, with the people about cremation, especially fought that battle with people's families, because, you know, most of us come from families that were not Muslims from the beginning. Now, our children, they don't have that problem because their parents, Muslims. Alhamdulillah. But our parents originally, you know, back in like, you know, 69, 70, 71, they were Christians or so-called Christians. And sometimes when their child who had become a Muslim died, they would fight against the Muslims because they wanted to do this or that to the child's body. Cremation, funeral, these things that Christianity allowed, but Islam didn't want you to do that. So we had to fight them. Now, these times are different because we have never had a situation like this in our history. So that if the medical people say that body needs to be cremated because it's dangerous for the public, Islam has left a ruling that allows that body to have done to it something that Muslims generally wouldn't do. But under the circumstances, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would forgive the Muslims who allowed that to happen. For what? For the betterment of the public. See? For the betterment of the public. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He allows us to follow the rules if the rules are put in place to save the public. Okay. As you like.
Alhamdulillah. So this is gonna have to be the real last question. But we have a question from Imam Ahmed. Imam Ahmed Abdul Salam. He's asking, what about
that's my friend Ahmed. I love him.
The ruling of Tarawih prayers. Let me ask the way he asked. He says, what is the ruling on doing Tarawih live stream, meaning through the computer during Ramadan due to the current situation?
It's allowed. It's allowed to do Tarawih. Yani, you have to have, I don't remember exactly how many people, but you have to have enough people that on the screen, they can hear, they can, like in the Islamic Center, they have 2 big TVs downstairs and another big one upstairs, that wherever the Imam is standing or the person who is reciting the Quran, they can focus in on it and everybody can hear it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They're allowed to have the reciter do that on the screen and video on audio so that people can hear him. And then when he says the takbir, they follow him. He says, Sami Allahu liman hamidah. They follow like that. They're allowed to do that. But that's a different question than Juma.
Mm-hmm.
See, Juma, big fard. Juma is the biggest fard of that day. The khutbah is the biggest fard of that day. Praying in congregation is the biggest fard of that day. Fard, you know, the people understand fard? That
yes, inshallah, obligatory.
Obligatory, you see? Whereas Taraweeh, many of the people, especially from Arab countries, these imams who are running programs at that time give people advice as if this Taraweeh is a fard, but it's not. See? It's not a fard. It's a voluntary. If you come, you get benefit. If you don't come, you don't automatically get punished for it because you didn't come. You just lose the benefit. So yes, Ameen. Ameen, you have the right to lead the people in Taraweeh, and they should follow, and we should take benefit from you, inshallah. I wanted to tell you this, that Ahmed Abdul Salam, in my estimation, is the person that we can take big benefit from. Instead, I'm just saying this
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
But I would have said it. I feel uncomfortable saying it when Ahmed is listening. I would have said it before I stopped this class so that the people would know who I recommend that they can take learning from if they're in his, and they have the ability to reach him and take some learning. They should take some learning from him. They should take some learning from my students, because the ones that I graduate, I give them a paper saying that they are representatives of what I've been teaching for so many years. And I'm very hard on them to give them that paper. So they know that, if they get that paper, they put in their work. Well, Ahmed has put in that same work. He didn't do it through me, but he's put in his work and he has his right credentials, see? So my advice, stop following these uncredentialed people. Muslims, when you go to college, you want to know who you're studying from in college. You want his credentials. You want to know that he has the right information, that he's been around long enough to know what he has to teach you so for your success. Well, what would make you chase behind somebody who doesn't have the right credentials in this world, where his learning for you will stop in this world? But the person who has the credentials will work in this world for you and in the next world. That's who you want to follow. So make sure that whoever you're taking this information from is a person who has the right credentials. Ahmed has the right credentials, no question about it. Ahmed's more learned than me when it comes to the language and these different things, and you got to take advice from him. So anyway, I think I gave you the right information, and Allahumma inni as'aluka min kulli khairin sa'alaka minhu Muhammadin nabiyyuka sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa a'udhu bika min kulli sharrin ista'aka minhu Muhammadin nabiyyuka sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma aghfir lana ma qadamna wa ma akharna wa ma asrarna wa ma lana wa ma anta alim bihi min nar rabbana atina fid dunya
Ameen.
حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من المية وممات ومن فتنة القبر ومن فتنة مسيح الدجال ومن عذاب النار وسوء المصير. Okay, who was asking me?
I think that's it, Sheikh. I think that's it. We want to close out because doors in. So I think we're good, inshallah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for
Wa
coming.
alaikum salam. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Sheikh. May Allah preserve you and reward you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
Assalamu alaikum.
Before we end, inshallah, we have just a few announcements. We have a few classes this week. We have on Monday, we have Imam Ahmed giving us a class on the letters, gems of Shaykh Ibrahim Niyas, rahimahullah. That will be at 6 o'clock on Monday. If you don't have the link, you can reach out to someone at Nasrul M, Habib Rasul, myself, or Imam Ahmed. Inshallah, on Wednesday, we have a Ruh al-Adab class with Sayyid Kaaba, Abdul Salam. That's at 1 o'clock.
Abdul Fattah.
Abdul
Abdul Salam too.
Abdul Fattah, thank you for correcting me. We have on Thursday, we have a Maliki Fiqh class with Rasul Miller, who is a student of Shaykh Ameen and has his ijazah from Shaykh Ameen. His class is at 11:30, right?
Yes, inshallah. Yes, inshallah.
And like always, we have our daily dhikr, our daily wazifa at 8:30. So alhamdulillah. And Shaykh Ameen's next class, inshallah, our plan, inshallah, is to have this every Sunday at 12 o'clock, inshallah.
Say it again.
I want to be able to invite the sisters from.
All right, so there's no questions or anything else, Sidi Rasul, if you could close us out, inshallah.
Well, inshallah, I don't want to close it out. I want to ask Sheikh Ameen, and also Sister Mona from the UK is asking specifically if Sheikh Ameen can make dua for all of us. So inshallah, Sheikh, if you could close us out with the special dua, inshallah.
I just did it. But you want me to do it again? Because
sure, inshallah.
some of the things that I said in that dua are things that the Sheikh taught me to expect this either in our lifetime or before it's all over, and to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's protection. Allahumma inni as'aluka min kulli khayrin sa'alaka minhu Muhammadan nabiyyuka sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you're asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the good things that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked for. وأعوذ بك من كل شر استعاذك منه محمد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Roughly, you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the things, for protection from those things that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. Allahumma aghfir lana ma qadamna wa ma akharna wa ma asrarna wa ma lana wa ma anta alimun bihi min nar rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for the things that we have done in the past, for the things that we are doing now, and for the things that we may do in the future. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from hell, to give us the good in this world and good in the world to come. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-mahya wa mamat. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the right answer when we meet the angel at the time of death. Because this time of death is bigger. It's bigger than any time you could imagine. Because the people who get a success from these questions at the time of death in the grave, it will get easier for them if they get success in the questions. But the people who don't get success from those questions in the grave, it will get harder for them after that. So we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the right answers to those angels. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the big fitna. We can consider ourselves right now in a big fitna. This time in this world right now is a big fitna because it's never happened before like this, never. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say he would not destroy the earth like he did during the time of Noah alayhi salam. He would not do that again. But what he has done is he has put us in such a big fitna that we don't know which way it's coming from. See? And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of our affairs, whatever they may be, let it be that which is good. Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen. Ameen. Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. Inshallah, we'll see you next week. Inshallah. Inshallah, I'll talk to you before then. But thank you again, Sheikh.
Thank you so much. And Ishaq, Habib, and Ajib, you brothers did a wonderful job in running these programs. Kaaba, I love you so much, Kaaba, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you guys continue your work. And maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive us our sins for doing this work and allow us to be among the good people at the end.
Ameen.
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 Okay,
Ameen.
I'm going to leave now.
Ameen.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.